guys can hear me, right? The connection, just let me know, okay? Okay, all right. So I'll share my screen. Uh, okay, all right. So about me, like I said, my name is Nauman Hamid, and I made this platform while I was preparing for the Plab 2. When the exams got cancelled, I made this platform because many people were frustrated, and a lot of my colleagues and we were all in the same situation. So I just made it just for a little bit of support. And what I did, I just started doing sessions and just started revising things so I do not forget things. Because guys, the material is very volatile. The Plab 2 material is very volatile, so you have to do a bit daily or on regular basis, okay? So about daily station, so like I mentioned, I made this platform while I was preparing. So the idea was to be consistent with something. When you do a little bit daily, you do not overwhelm yourself in the end. So things go easy for you. Yeah. And so now, there are four groups on WhatsApp. There's a Telegram channel, and I've recently made an account on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram as well. So I'll do whatever I can, okay? And the purpose is just to help and share whatever I have learned in this journey, because for me it was hell of a time. It was a long time for me. Yeah. So a brief disclaimer, because I've given the exam, so I'm not going to share any exam details. Okay, you can't do that. And the purpose is just to share my approach and my experience that might be helpful for someone out there. Yeah. So the time it took for me, so the Plab 1, it took me just 1 month with my house job. I was doing my internship. It took me just 1 month. But the Plab 2, it took me more than a year. So that's why I'm talking about Plab 2 mainly. Okay, and why so much time? Because firstly, I passed my Plab 1 a bit earlier in my internship. So I was doing my house job. It was just my second rotation. I passed it. So it was a thing on my mind because it was an unfinished business for me. So I joined WhatsApp groups and everything, and I just started knowing a little bit about this exam. And because I could not leave my internship, it was a contract, and the internship is also important for your GMC registration. So I just waited for my internship to end. But when my house job finished, the COVID pandemic started. Like in February start, I finished my house job, and then COVID started, the exams got cancelled, and further it got delayed. And after that, I started this thing, daily stations, and it further gave me a lot of time, so I did not left anything out there. So I'll come towards Plab 2 again. So a little bit about Plab 1. Okay, so I did not use any other material apart from Plabable, so I'll briefly share about it. So my Plab 1 experience, so it took me just 35 days for Plab 1. And yeah, I studied with my job. Okay, so what I did, I used Plabable. I had a tablet with me. So I installed Plabable in it. Plabable has an app also, you can find on Play Store as well. So on the app, you can even access the questions offline. You cannot go to the links, but you can read the questions. So I use that whenever there was I was on call or at night time, when there was it was manageable and I was free. I just used to scroll down through the questions, and the comments with the questions that were very useful, I remember, because there were some useful mnemonics and things like that that really helped me. And there were some links at the end of the question. I used to check them as well, not all of them, but few. And after doing Plabable once, I revised few important topics like cardiology and few other, and then did the all the 9 mocks. And I just gave my exam and I passed. Now, one tip for Plab 1, I would say that, before my exam, someone told me not to think much. So the first instinct you get after reading a question, it's actually the correct one. So I did the same. I did not spend time overthinking about any question, and I finished my exam in time and I passed. So I don't have much experience about Plab 1 apart from Plabable, right? So now Plab 2. Now this is the main thing. Now, it took an insane amount of time for me, because due to my circumstances, like I told you, the internship and the COVID. So I did a little bit every day, not literally every day, but like 4 to 5 days at least in a week. So so far so clear, guys. Can you hear me? I'm audible. Let me know if I'm audible or not.
Yes, you are. We can
Yes.
hear
Okay, thank you. So soon after Plab 1, what happens? You get confused about academy, which academy to join. What you'll do, that you'll just go to the Plab pages on Facebook and you'll just read discussions people are doing about academy. Someone will say this academy is good, that is good, all that discussions, okay? And then you'll get to know that there are online courses, there are online mocks, and a bundle of material out there on WhatsApp. There are many WhatsApp groups, Telegram, there are Google Drives, blogs, YouTube channels. There are a lot of material out there. But I had those circumstances. I had the time, 1.5 year ahead for me. So I went through every one of them. I don't think I've left anything apart from common stations. I'll come to that. So what I did, because of that much time, I just went through every material. Now this is something I would not recommend anyone to do it, because this exam will maximum, it should just take maximum 2 months or 3 months. Yeah, it's not something that you spend a year. It was just a specific thing for me. But do not confuse yourself here and there. Just stick to one material. If you want to go for Aspire, go for it and just stick to it. Same with Swami or Samson or Common Stations, any academy. Go for it, stick to it, practice as much as you can, and move ahead. Okay. So do not do this thing. But for me, I got confused at some point. It was like everything was jumbled up and mixed up in my mind. But with time, I got to realize that everything is, every notes, every academy is teaching you the same thing one way or another. Yeah. So that does not really matter. And but in doing so, I got to know a lot about this exam, and that's what I'm going to share. Okay. So after going through everything, I was left with only two courses, which did not have any online stuff available at that time. So it was one Common Stations and Samson. Samson, now he has an online course as well, but at that time he was not having. So I went personally for the Samson in the end, because the mocks, his mocks are really famous. And he used to take 4 mocks, but now he used to take 3 full-fledged mocks. And his new center in Manchester is really good. It's quite a lot like real exam. So I went for Samson, okay, and the mocks are really important. They take you through the drill. They just acclimatize you towards the real experience. So I think it's very important to have some good mocks, good live mocks. Okay. Uh, Now the next thing is that, which academy to join. Okay, guys, I'll be very honest, very very honest. uh, Please trust me. Every academy is fine. Literally, every academy will teach you the basics. They all are doing this teaching for quite a lot of time. They are all experienced, they all know. They all will teach you the do's and don'ts. The domains are same everywhere. The data gathering, management, and IPS, it does not change. Everyone is working on the same things. So the academies, like someone said, like they can teach us how to walk, but they cannot walk for us. In the end, it's our own struggle, and in the end, it's our own hard work that pays off. Yeah. So please do not waste your time thinking about which academy to join. Just do which is suitable for you. I went for Samson. Why? Because in Pakistan, Samson had a course. I did not need to, travel to Manchester for a course. In my home country, the course was available, so I went for there. Plus, the mocks were also good. So just see your circumstances. For example, if you have some relatives living near Aspire or near Swami, just go with that academy. Okay, do not think much about it. So I've personally gone through every course out there. The online, the notes, and the online material. I'm talking about that. So trust me, guys, the academies do not decide. If someone says that that academy is rubbish and blah blah, that's not right. You have to work on yourself. You have to know where you are lacking, and a lot of thing depends on your own self. They can just guide you. Yeah, I hope so far I'm clear. Let me know if there's any confusion. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we
Yes, we
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So brief review of academies. Now these are the resources about which I've got a personal experience, right? I'll just share that. Um, I'll just briefly name them and what I felt about each. And yeah, if you want me to write a separate review about any course, and if you want me to make a comparison, or you just let me know, email me or just message me. I'll try to make a video on that. So the number one, coming towards the Aspire. I started with the Aspire when I was doing my half job. I just printed out the Aspire notes. I started reading them like a story. The good thing about Aspire is that it's organized. Okay, the ethics, medicine, counseling, every stations are organized. Okay, and the language is very easy. If you listen to Dr. Ankur, he speaks in a very easy language that's very understandable, especially if you are from the subcontinent like Pakistan, Bangladesh, or India. You will find it very easy to understand. And the IPS is, I think, that's something you need to work yourself. And if you memorize this notes, there are chances you will sound scripted, so that is a risk. So the solution is just read it like a story, right? Now the Swami. Now Swami, I the notes are not very organized. They are very lengthy. Common stations and Swami, in both the notes are very lengthy. Okay, Dr. Swami teaches very good. He goes into some details that I've noticed, but like uh, like every other, like Samson and Swami both, they do not teach whole course themselves. They have instructors. I remember once I was listening to some counseling stations from Swami, and the instructor that was teaching, he was more good than Swami himself. Same wise, like in Samson, Dr. Iman taught us, who was from Egypt, and she was better than Dr. Samson himself, to be honest. So these people who have recently done the things, they are very good. So do not think that if the person who has the academy is not teaching, so that won't be good. So that's not the case. Yeah, in Swami, the online course is good. In Samson, I've observed, as compared to Samson, which is my personal academy, which I went in person, that is not as good as Swami. So I'll be honest here, okay? Now, about Samson, he has the best mocks among all. There is no doubt about it. Everyone knows his mocks are famous, okay? But his live course, what he does, that there are a lot of videos going on, okay, on screen. So many people do not like that. So that's the thing. Now, Common Station is the only academy which I don't have a personal experience, but from my colleagues, what I know is that he teaches everything himself. Like Dr. Swami and Dr. Samson, they do not do, but they have instructors, which are those are really good. But for about Common Stations, what I've heard, that he teaches everything himself. So that's the thing about academies. These are the mainstream academies. Yeah. So do not. So the conclusion would be: do not waste your time thinking about academies much. Everyone teaches the same thing one way or another. Now, other resources. Now, there are some resources from ex-plebers. Some of them are really good. Okay, I'll just briefly share my opinion. Okay. Now there is this Plab strategies by Dr. Lian. She's one of my favorites. She's brilliant with IPS, but the thing is that it's more like a one-way teaching. Everyone will be muted, and she'll just go on. It will be a lecture, and sometimes you tend to sleep, and you cannot focus very much. But some people record the audio. Everyone has their own style, but her IPS is really good. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And now Dr. Mosob, he's wonderful with the approaches. When he teaches something, you'll just remember it forever. He's like that, the structures. And he and Dr. Ali Hashmi, he's a doctor from Pakistan, and Dr. Mosobi, I think he's from Egypt. They take a lot of time. It will be time consuming. It will take a lot of time. You will need some patience, but if you manage to listen to the complete lecture, they are good. Okay. So in terms of structure and approach wise, I found Dr. Mosabi the best among all. In terms of IPS, I found Dr. Lian best among all. And now Dr. Ali, I think he does not conduct any sessions now. He was quite active when I was preparing, but he was really good in, especially in the medical scenarios. The same problem like with Dr. Mo, that it was a bit time consuming. But it's very good if you have time and your exam is not near. Now another thing I got to know, like Road to UK. So what I found, it's a bit fancy version of Aspire. Like if you don't like colors, like if you like colors and you get bored with black and white notes, so they've made boxes, and it's like a colorful notes, and a bit fancy version of Aspire. The things were from Aspire that I noticed. And one thing, this and the Aspire, they both have material from NHS website. If you open the Aspire notes, when you come to the management, everything will be a copy paste from NHS website and a little bit from Nice CK. But NHS is a good website. What NHS is, it's just a website for patients. Okay, instead of googling things, patients can just go and see their condition on NHS. So it's actually made for patients. So the language is simple. That's a very good source. Yeah. I was saying that Road to UK, I told about it, and iMedics. It's very awesome material. Like there's Doctor Mo. There's a Doctor Mo in iMedics as well, and Doctor Sandu. Like the way they express and the way they do a station, especially if you struggle with your facial expressions, go and have a look at those videos. They are really really good. Okay, also one of my favorites, iMedics. Now there's Aurora audiobook. Okay, this include 25 common stations. It's good. You can just listen to it like you're going for a walk, you're going for a run. Just put your hand free and just listen to it. It's also very good. It's famous. The Aurora audiobook is famous. And there's one thing I found, Dr. Kin's file. Like he has, like in one Excel file, he piled up all the 300 plus stations, and it was also a good thing for the end time revision. Okay, so that was my experience so far with these. But you do not I'll come to it. Okay, what I recommend. So what I would recommend is that if you want to prepare in 1 to 2 months, just take one course only and supplement it with some good resources like Aurora audiobook and iMedics. That would suffice, guys. Literally, that would suffice. And if you have a lot of time and you think that you are not that much sharp, like myself, I was a very average student, and for me Plab 2 was a big thing. So I started with Aspire, started reading notes, but be careful that do not memorize them. Okay, you will become scripted. And make approaches and structures with your own hands. Okay, make approaches and structures with with your own hands, and memorize them. If you want to memorize something, memorize the approaches.
Yeah, but not right now. After some
Please,
time,
please,
we just have
please, please mute yourself. Make approaches and memorize them. Okay, now if you get confused, you can consult two websites. There's one NHS brilliant website, or Nice CK. Nice CK is a bit advanced. Do not complicate yourself into it. If something is super confusing, you do not know what to do, then only go for Nice CK. Otherwise NHS should suffice. And the last thing, guys, take some good mocks. Practice with your friends, practice with multiple partners. Why I say multiple partners? Because in the real exam you've got 15 or 18 different simulators. Okay, so when you practice with different people, you polish yourself differently in all the ways, and it helps you. I did this when I was doing my mocks. I just posted a list in daily stations in my group, and I just gathered doctors from all the groups, and I just used to do mutual mocks. So if you practice with multiple partners, that really helps. Yeah. And take some good mocks and practice. I think practice is a key. If I succeeded in this exam, it was my practice. And I was a bit consistent. Like my exam went really well. Apart from one, I passed all stations. I got 12s, 11s, 10s, and one station I failed. I remember that too because of something, I missed. But in the end, I think if you practice, everything will go smooth. And one last thing is that take care of yourself in all of this journey. Okay, this is very important. Like, you should study, but you should not study at the cost of your mental health. Guys, this is really important. So if you do a little bit daily, you'll not overwhelm yourself. So that's the basic idea behind all of this. Okay, so what you can do, you can go for a hike or for a run. Like, I used to go for a hike regularly back at home, and I did not miss it even, like, when I came to Manchester, I was just running every now and then. I did not miss it even a day before my Plab 2 exam. It's very important. It makes you feel happy apart from just keeping you healthy. Yeah. So it's very important that you take a good care of yourself and just have some good hobbies. Like, I personally used to learn some instruments, or some keyboard or some string instruments. You can listen to some music, read some book, even you can scroll through some memes on Facebook. All of these things make you feel light a little bit. Yeah, so these are very important. And spend time with friends, family, and do not cut yourself off. Okay, that's do not do that. Some people do that. They are just with their books all the time. So do not do that thing. And take care of your health, eat healthy, and sleep well. Like, I remember I was unable to sleep the day before my exam, so I just took a muscle relaxant and I slept at 7 p.m. because it was like I have to have a very good sleep before I give my exam. Yeah. And when you go for the exam, on the exam day, when I was in the waiting room, I thought, it's not my Plab exam. I'm done with Plab. It's my first day in NHS. So just imagine what you will do if you have got a real patient and it's your first day. Just in that way, you will sound natural. Yeah. So the main thing is that you have to be natural. And again, this exam is very, very subjective. Do remember thing, do your best and leave the rest to God. Okay. So now, what would be the conclusion? If you really plan things and work for them accordingly, it's a quite doable thing. Like I mentioned earlier, for me it's the consistency that worked. Yeah. Doing a little bit every day with my job. And guys, seriously, I'm literally, by God, I was a very, very average student. I barely made through my MBBS. I was doing a lot of things. And even English is my third language. I was not very fluent. Like, trust me, guys, if I'm watching an English movie, I was not able to watch it without subtitles. And in my final year, I thought, man, I have to go for it and I have to improve things. I started watching series and seasons and movies, and I just tried to make myself suitable for all this, and eventually I improved. And then a big thanks for this platform. Yeah. And literally, guys, I owe you guys a lot, to be honest. If you guys did not listen to my sessions, I would not have gained this much confidence. I still remember when the room used to get full and hundreds of doctors listening to me. It was really a confidence booster for me. And I'll always be thankful to this platform, and I'll do whatever I can. Okay. And why I feel encouraged, this thing, when people gave me the feedback like this after I passed my exam, it really made me feel so, so good. It was like I did not pass this exam alone, but I took many people with me, because with this group I was just engaging all other people. And I was not doing for others, it was in a way I was doing for myself, because when I used to write in a group that tonight I'm going to do a session on this topic, then I have to read that because I have committed it. So that was a strategy I was using. So if I'm lazy, I just used to go and write something in the group, I'll do this. And then I was like, oh, I've now committed this, so I need to study this. So that's how I kept myself engaged in all of this. And I really felt that I made a difference when I get all these messages. People, it was a very wonderful and a very beautiful feedback I got. Like, I was doing all these sessions to prepare myself, and in doing so I helped many people out there. So it was a win-win for me, and I'm really happy about this. So That was the story, and in the end there are some links for daily stations. If you want me to make any videos or about anything, I just posted my first video on Instagram today, and I'll post, I'm recording this. If possible, I might upload it on YouTube as well. So these are the links. There's Telegram, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. There are 4 groups on WhatsApp, because when I started it was just one group and people started listening to me. It got full. Then I made second group. It got full. Then I made third one. It got full. Now there are 4 groups, and these are all the links here. And yeah, about the links, I'll continue to do some Zoom sessions. I have to talk more about how I improved my management, how we can adapt to a situation. Okay, filtering out unnecessary data. What it means that when you have the approach like the P2 maftosa and all that thing, you do not rigidly apply the approach. Okay, you have to adapt with station. For example, if there is a station when of palliative care, a person is dying, you do not ask desa, you do not ask smoking alcohol. What will that do for you? The person is already dying. So it's an example. You need to adapt yourself according to every situation and every station. Yeah. And how to work on IPS, and how to use the resources correctly, and very important, maintaining your mental health in all this. And I plan to do a lot of things. I'll do, inshallah. And how people sound scripted and common mistakes, because I'm taking a lot of mocks these days, and I've been noticing a lot of things that are common. I'll make videos on that, like I shared one today in the morning. And yeah, I'll get back whenever I get free, because there's a lot of things when you pass Plab 2 as well, because finding your NHS job, doing some clinical attachment, so I will be a bit busy in that. But whenever I'll find time, I'll give back to this group, because I really owe this a lot. And now, yeah, that's all. If you got any questions, I'll just stop sharing the screen and you can ask me. Okay, so we are running out of time as well. This meeting will end like in 8 minutes. Yeah. So anyone has a question?
Dr.
Hello. Yeah.
Nauman,
Okay.
Yeah.
you go.
You can ask. Okay. I want to ask that how many stations we have to follow, like we have to do daily if we are busy and we have like 3 months time. So 5 or 10 station will be enough
Yeah,
of,
just count all the stations and divide them by the days you have, and
okay.
spare 10 days for revision, or 10-15 days for revision in the
Okay.
end.
And one more last thing, that can you make a video of IPS lines, or can you write them and share on this group IPS lines, that different IPS you have used in your stations? And
Yeah,
what
yeah.
about management? The Aspire management is enough, but Dr. Hamid management is somewhat long. So we have to do Aspire management whole, or we have to just memorize some few things. Like we have to ask that. Like what the patient asks. So we have to tell the details of surgery to the patient, or tell the details of management to the patient. Can you please throw some light on this?
Okay, in terms of management, the management is something very important, because your IPS is mainly tested in the management, because the patient comes with a lot of concerns, and how you tackle everything, that counts. And regarding the which notes, like Aspire has good management, it's from NHS, but it usually do not go the way you expect things. The patient can throw any cell, anything. He can throw any concern, and your job is to just address that in a good way. That's it. So all of this thing will come, when you'll practice. And time management is very important for practice. And you have to just cut down on your history, cut back on your history, and that's how you'll start improving your management. Yeah.
Hello,
But we have
Nauman.
to,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yes,
Um,
yes.
so
Yes, Dr. Mirza.
hi.
Hi.
Congrats once again. I'm
Thank
so
you so
so so
much.
so happy for you.
Thank
I've
you.
seen you, and it's really nice that you have achieved such good scores. My question to you is, what challenges did you face during the telephonic conversations? Because I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody who actually told me that how those telephonic, stations were?
Okay.
Like, what were the challenges? Yeah, I
Yeah,
really want to
telephone
know.
consultation is good. Some people like telephone conversation because you do not have that negative energy in the cubicle because no one is there. But I personally did not like the telephone stations because you do not have the patient in front of you of
Hmm.
you can connect with. So it's a telephone call. So I personally felt that it's fine. It can go fine, but with telephone you cannot make that connection. With the facial, when you are live and talking face to face, that is something different. But on telephone, the voice was clear, everything was good, but sometimes something, if you are unable to understand, so you ask them again. So it
Yeah.
happens sometime. But
Yeah, and you have to call like when you're on phone, do you have to, is it necessary to call that person for examination, for example? Is it necessary?
yeah, if you suspect that the person needs further evaluation, you
Hmm.
have to ask them to come to the practice so you can examine them. Yeah, that would be sensible
Yeah.
to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the identification or the introduction, how precise can we go? Because there's a lot of things, different academies and online tutors say that ask this, ask that. How precise can we go? The minimum things we can ask and still pass station.
Yeah, for the introduction, you're asking the initial things.
The initials of
Yeah,
patient
yeah,
and the
yeah.
ID and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to ask. You just for address, you can, yes, just ask the postal code. Can you just confirm your postal code for me? So that will maybe save you from telling all the for
Hmm.
them to tell all the address. So you can just ask postal code. And there is nothing much in the beginning, that I think that's not the main thing in telephone station. The main thing is the core is this, the task, that how you fulfill that matters.
Yeah, yeah. And when you read the task, how did you realize that what the core is? Because some tasks are like so big that you just, you're
Yeah,
all
yeah,
over the
yeah.
place, or
that
it's
that
whether it
happens.
comes with practice.
That happens in some scenarios, in some stations. You have to read the things quickly. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
there might be enough information, but that's your job to just pick the correct thing and just talk about it, what's relevant.
Right. And they say
Yeah.
that sometimes simulators, they want you to, drive you towards the core. Is it right? I mean, if you
Yeah, the
see that they're
simulators
rushing
are
you in.
good. In the real exam they are good. They do not mess up with you.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's reassuring.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for
You're
answering so
welcome.
many questions.
You're
Dr.
welcome. We
Nauman,
got 3 more minutes. Please, some
hi,
short
Dr. Nauman.
questions.
I have a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so you just said we should practice stations every day, right?
Yeah.
And people are always talking about you should practice this many stations every day. So what does that really mean? Like, where do we get the stations from? Does that mean reading through the notes, or
Yeah.
is that something else?
Yeah, it's from the notes. From the notes, you've got a task, you just practice it with your colleague. Or if you think that you've got a lot of time, just practice a little bit, a part of a station. But, stay
Yeah.
connected with all the stuff because everything is so volatile.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it said that we're assessed over three things in the exam, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, in stations which have stations about breaking bad news, for example, so how will we be assessed on data gathering in that station? Because we don't have to take a history or anything in
Yeah,
that
we have
station,
to
right?
take the history there as well. For example,
Okay.
how was the condition before the thing happened?
Right.
Yeah, the maftosa comes in the data gathering, the medical conditions, any medication the patient was on, and all
Okay.
that, the social history, how did you come to the hospital today, everything counts in the data gathering. So data gathering you have to do in every station. Yeah, that's very
Right.
important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, guys, I think there's 1 minute left. Okay, so what I'll do, we'll arrange some other session, and what I can do is that I'll talk about a bit in detail about the further stuff, like about stations, what kind of stations we have. Like there are combined stations where you have to do examination as well, and apart from taking history and talking about management. So we'll talk about all that because the meeting is ending. It's like just 40-minute thing, so I think it will just end. So thank you so much,
Dr. Nauman,
everyone.
can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank you very much for your video. So where can I get the Aspire notes?
Aspire notes you can ask from your colleagues. They are someone in the groups I found in one of the WhatsApp groups.
You mean that
Yeah.
handwritten note?
No, the
Oh,
printed
okay,
notes,
okay.
the printed notes.
Printed notes I haven't
uh
seen yet.
yeah.
Can you please post that?
Yeah, I think there would be, that would be in the WhatsApp groups. I'll check that. I'll check that for
Thank you
sure.
very much. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you so much, guys. The meeting is about to finish. So thank you so much again, everyone. And let me know if you got any problem, anything you want me to help with. Just message in the on the Telegram or WhatsApp, or message me. Okay. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good night.
Yes,
Bye
Dr.
bye. Good
Nauman.
Bye
night.
bye. Bye bye.